Well, good morning, John. How are you?
I'm doing fine. How are you?
I'm good. So, just for Dr. Pastore's sake, my name is Shannon Geurin, and I am in the Leadership and Ministry course, PTH 5323. And I'd like to just introduce Dr. Pastore to John Geurin. John, I have to say that before we get started, I've been super excited to interview you because you're not in ministry for a career, but yet you lead. You're a very godly leader, and although you lead from a secular organization, I think that you have so much to offer, and I'm just looking forward to interviewing you. So thank you for your time. Why don't we start? Just tell us a little bit about you, your background, and how you got into leadership.
Sure. Yeah. So it's been a 25-year journey. I mean, I took my first leadership role way back in 2000. I was actually a salesperson for a Fortune 500 company out of college, and kind of worked my way into a situation to become an area sales manager for that organization, and just fell in love with leadership. Really, I had always been an informal leader. I mean, through school, through sports, those types of things. Was in several different, organizations going through school, where I was actually the president of those organizations, and I always enjoyed enabling other people. So when I had that opportunity to become an area sales manager, I jumped at it, and then that's led me on a journey. Over the last 25 years, it's been very gratifying. Have had a lot of opportunity in different roles. I've lived in different cities. I've led different divisions of our organization. I'm actually next year celebrating 30 years of service at my current company. And it's been great. I mean, in addition to just leadership from a corporate perspective, I've also held several different board positions. Was a board member for Junior Achievement. I'm actually currently a board member at our church of about 2,000 members, and I actually serve as the treasurer for the church. So always jump and enjoy an opportunity to be in some type of leadership capacity where I can not only use my administrative strengths, but more importantly, just enable and work with other people.
So, as you look back over the course of the last 30 years, is there maybe somebody who sticks out to you as being just super influential, or maybe not a person, but just like a particular instance when you knew this is what I want to
Um,
do?
yeah, I would say obviously childhood mentors. Like I said earlier, I played sports in school, so always having that coaching figure was someone that commanded authority, seemed to have some power, but then also was very inspirational and was shaping lives of young men on those sports teams. I always looked to those coaches as well. That I mean they're really helping us. Not only in this sport, but they're helping us be better people. So I would say, childhood mentors, early bosses, really shaped my career as I kind of moved from being an individual contributor in my company into a leadership role, really watching and trying to mirror the behavior and the skill of early bosses. And then I would say probably in the last 15 years, just looking in our own organization. So I'm currently a senior vice president in our organization. I report directly to our chief revenue officer, and about 10 or 15 years ago, as I got to a level where I could actually have a one-on-one conversation with like our chief executive officer, with our chairman, with those types of roles, I realized, okay, that's the time. I mean, I want to like shape an organization. So I began to aspire to that level, and I've made it. I mean, I'm 3 levels away at my current role within our Fortune 500 company. I was actually in a city last week in meetings with one of our largest customers, and it was me, our chairman, our CEO, and our chief revenue officer. So being able to be in that kind of crowd and that kind of group has been very inspiring for me. And I would say those people specifically and those roles and what those roles mean have really shaped my leadership career.
So, um, Dr. Pastore talks about spiritual leadership theory and how he basically talks about how you can be working for a secular organization and still apply that spiritual leadership. So how do you do that? How do you lead from a godly perspective in a secular organization where you might not be able to talk about your faith, but you can lead with that faith? How do you do that?
I would say servant leadership. I mean, I try to model myself after the best leader that we've ever known, and the best leader that I serve currently, and that's Jesus Christ. There was a book probably 10 or 15 years ago, Jesus CEO, and in that book, it literally like lays out how to inspire from the front, but how to be a servant leader and how to wash feet and those types of things. And I think all of the teams that I've ever served and led, I think if you asked anyone on those teams, they would say that I'm the type of leader that, I roll my sleeves up. I lead from the front, but I lead by example. There's also another book by Caffey, who was the original founder of Chick-fil-A. And that book is Servant Leadership, and really lays out a lot of the same principles that I've tried to model throughout my career. I feel like there's a big difference between being a manager and a leader. I mean, a manager pushes from the back and really tries to coerce people to do things that they need them to do. A leader leads from the front and actually inspires people by modeling the way, by showing how things should be done. I mean, just as an example, yesterday, I jumped on a plane, went to Philadelphia because one of our salespeople was having a very difficult issue with one of our largest accounts. And I could have very simply said, well, you better not lose the account. But based on the situation, based on the amount of volume associated with that specific customer, based on the senior leadership of that customer that was going to be on the room, I felt like, okay, even though I don't want to go to the airport right now, changed my schedule for this week, rolled my sleeves up, got on a plane, and went and met the leader in that market, that salesperson. And luckily, we had a very productive meeting with that customer, and we're going to be able to move forward. But that embodies servant leadership, not just telling people what to do, but showing people what to do.
That's good. So what would you say have been some of the challenges that you faced as a leader, and how did
Um,
you overcome them?
yeah. So first of all, I would say, I mean, coming to the realization that not everyone is meant to be on the team. You can encounter a lot of nice people, but that doesn't necessarily mean that they're great employees. Doesn't necessarily mean they have the skill to be in the role that they're in. Um, Especially in America today, with the pace of technology and just the pace of business, roles evolve, companies evolve, and employees that are not continuing to innovate and self-develop kind of get left behind. And they can still be nice people, but unfortunately, as a leader, you have to make very difficult decisions and say, I mean, just like if you were a coach and you said, okay, that person is not running the play the way that we need them to run the play. They used to run the play, but we've changed the offense and now they don't fit. So being able to have those types of crucial conversations, unfortunately, having to terminate nice people, people that you've grown personally to love as a person and respect as a person, and having to sit across the table from them and explain why they're not going to move forward. Or worse yet, especially during COVID, most organizations, including ourselves, we had to furlough some employees. I mean, so having a conversation with an employee about why you're needing to furlough them for the greater good of the company,
Mm.
or worse yet, why you might need to, have a reduction in force and lay off a number of people. Those, as a leader, that if those types of conversations ever become easy, then you're really in the wrong job. And I always fret because that's personal. Those are personal situations. Those are families that you're impacting. And I would just say those types of instances, I don't think you can ever be. I think you can be prepared on how to navigate those situations, but I don't think you can actually ever be prepared for the situation.
Yeah. So then what would you say is some of the most rewarding things that you've encountered in your career as a leader?
So I would say, I mean, first of all, the number of people that I know today, in 25 years of leadership, I mean, I have people that have worked for me in the past that are, I've got in Denver, I have a chief revenue officer that's working for a private equity company. I have a number of people who've been promoted to VPs and have left our company and have gone and been vice presidents in other companies. I have folks that I can remember when we hired them as a salesperson, and they're a regional vice president in our company today. So I think just the number of people that I can look across our organization and other organizations across the country and say, wow, I had a role in that
Yeah.
person's career. I was able to inspire them to find their skill. I was able to inspire them to be their best, and they are being their best. So that's very gratifying, just to be able to see that. And then personal success. I mean, my family is very comfortable today. I have two daughters that made it through school with no debt. Now, granted, they got some scholarships along the way, but dad was able to pay what they didn't get. And just being able to have those financial rewards of, being successful as a leader within my company, that's also been very gratifying and has been a great blessing to my family.
So I want to respect your time. I know you're very busy, but one last question. What practices help you stay spiritually, emotionally, and mentally healthy as a leader?
Um, I would say, well, first of all, I mean, as a Christian, before anything, prayer, a devotion, Bible study. I mean, I think being rooted in just what I'm trying to do on a daily basis before I even think about being a corporate leader. That's the most important thing. I think early in my career, as I was trying to chase the corporate ladder, I think I probably at times got a little bit off of my game. Not necessarily what I mean is off my game spiritually. And I think I was on blood pressure medicine and I was trying to fight it out for myself. And I realized, that's not my job. I mean, I'm not supposed to be doing things all by myself. I'm following, a bigger being and someone that, I call my savior. And I think so. Staying rooted over my career, I think, has been super important. And then I think, learning that as a leader, one of my key jobs is to model the gifts of the Holy Spirit, right? And I mean, I'm not supposed to be a tyrant. I'm not supposed to be irrational. I'm supposed to be patient, and I'm supposed to be kind. I'm supposed to be rational. And when I get into very difficult situations, it's my job to really kind of step back and say, what's our mission? What's our vision? And remain principled. I've seen so many leaders in my career that lose themselves because they compromise principles because they're trying to get to a different spot in their organization, or they're trying to like move up that ladder quicker than they're supposed to. And I've just really found that as you stay rooted, first of all, as a Christian, and then secondly, as you always maintain your principles and never compromise no matter what, that actually helps you gain more respect from the people that you're working with and the people that you're working for. And really helps you continue to move forward, not only as a leader, but just as a human being.
That's awesome. So, thank you, John. And so, Dr. Pastori, full disclosure, John is actually my husband. And when I saw this assignment and knew that I needed to have three interviews, I knew that one of them had to be with John because it's been a true honor just watching him lead from the outside looking in. Um, I've always been so curious and so I've loved just learning from you. So thank you for your time. And yeah, thank you so much, John. I hope you have a great day.
Thanks for the opportunity. I hope it was helpful.
Thank you.